I'm Anthony Nguyen. Join us as we change the narrative around aged care, one story at a time. Nice. All right, welcome back to the Pioneers in Aged Care podcast. Here we have Charles Moore, the CEO at BaptistCare. Thank you so much, Charles, for making it onto the podcast.
I'm really pleased to be here. I'm really looking forward to having a yarn.
I'm going to pretend that you flew here to meet me to be on the podcast rather than no, but
I told you, you sealed the deal, so I had to come to Perth.
Persistence is key.
That's right.
Before we get stuck into the podcast, I want to say thank you to the sponsors. One of the sponsors is KeenCare. They're an app that streamlines everything from scheduling and client management to billing, as well as having text-to-speech live language translation capabilities to assist with keeping detailed and accurate progress notes. And also a huge thank you to Optimum Allied Health, a provider of choice for residential aged care facilities, focusing on the quality of clinical care in their physiotherapy and allied health programs. Thank you so much. Alrighty, so let's start off with BaptistCare as a whole. Huge developments over the last 12 months, 6 months, mergers, acquisitions. Let's start with yourself. You were the CEO, New South Wales ACT BaptistCare.
Yep.
And that had 40 locations. Roughly how many altogether now with the merger of BaptistCare, the BaptistCare WA, and the New South Wales?
Yeah, so BaptistCare is now a large integrated aged care provider. So we play across the whole spectrum of aged care, but we also do a lot of work in the community services space and also in the social and affordable housing space. So as at today, we have 50 residential aged care homes, 2 retirement living villages. And we have the great privilege of looking after about 14,000 clients across the variety of home care spaces. That's in aged care alone, right? We also look after about 30,000 clients in the community services space on an annual basis. And we have about 1,100 social and affordable homes. So we're a diversified, complex business. To make it work, we employ about 14,000 people across the country. In total, we have the great privilege of serving about 40,000 residents and clients.
And since the merger, what have been the key challenges that you've encountered, because you've now merged with BaptistCare? Has that all finalized, or is it still an ongoing progress? Can you talk me through that?
Oh, sure. So you quite often see organisations merge or acquire businesses and they talk about the efficiencies that they'll get. The reality is they probably change the name on the front door and not much else happens. We're determined not to let that happen. So we actually have an integration program that will take us well over the next 3 years to execute. And so until then, you won't hear me say that we have integrated. We're just at the very early stages of our new journey as a one organisation. The reality is it takes a long time to unify cultures. We're still working out and listening really carefully to our staff and to our clients and customers right around the country. We're really interested to hear from them. What do they want the vision to be? What do they want the values to be? Once we've got that, we can work on a longer term strategy. But the key here is to be really intentional really focused about it. We want this to be an exciting, dynamic, collaborative culture focused on really great, safe, person-centered care for everybody that we touch. So these are early days.
Your journey into aged care has been pretty interesting. Like looking at your LinkedIn, I wouldn't have. It's not. It does make sense because fund manager, head of asset management, a large portfolio like BaptistCare has. It seems obvious, but it's also not obvious. It seems obvious because you've got the skill sets, but it's not the traditional pathway that you see a lot of people in aged care take. How's your experience been? And you joined at pretty much the height of the pandemic, or at least in the fear and uncertainty part of it. What was that like?
I tell people I accidentally joined the aged care sector and the community services sector and the social and affordable housing sector. The reality was that, yes, I have a career that was heavily biased towards the finance and to the property funds management sectors. There are some great parallels in that space. The bricks and mortar are a foundation stone to being able to deliver really good quality care, but they're only a foundation stone. And yes, we're blessed. We have a development pipeline that's now up over $1 billion on a cost basis that will roll out over the next decade or so. So there were some realities in that. Mm-hmm. But that journey, that season of my life had come to an end. I'd actually spent a little bit of time in government. That's another story altogether. And the phone rang. And a recruiter who I did not know wanted to ask me some strange questions. They wanted to know if I was a Christian. And they wanted me to be able to verify that before they told me about this great job running an aged care provider. And I thought, and I said to them, why are you calling me? I've got no clinical care experience. But I have been through a Royal Commission in the banking sector. I do read the papers. I'm not sure I want to go through another Royal Commission. But God has very funny ways of leading you. And here I am today doing the hardest job that I've ever done, but also the most rewarding job that I have ever had. And I'd like to think that in some small way I'm helping to make a difference to the organisation and to the people we serve.
Okay, so you took the call, you said yes, even though you knew the challenges of aged care, compounded by COVID. Was there ever a point where you thought, what did I do?
Not from day one. No, I'm genuine. When I say that this is the best job, the most rewarding job that I've ever had. Why is that? Because I get to work with some really good, passionate people each and every day. I get to see lives being tangibly changed for the better, transformed. I get to see families and communities improving because of what we do. How can you not be having fun?
No, absolutely. And you get to collect all these stories, you get to meet the residents.
Yeah.
So for the next 12 months, what are your visions and goals?
That is a really good question because it's actually at the forefront of my mind and a topic of conversation with our new senior leadership group. We're in this unique position. We're unifying 3 organisations into one new organisation. So, yeah, we've got 14,000 staff and volunteers. We've got revenues over $1.3 billion. But I like to say we're a sophisticated startup. We're just really big startup. So actually, the job for our new leadership group over the next 12 months is to listen to all of our staff and our clients and our key stakeholders and work with them as we actually determine what is our new mission What is our new vision as a new organisation? What are our values? And we're coming from a great spot, because all of these organisations that have merged together actually have very similar vision, purpose, values, right? They're different words, but ultimately they're coming from the same spot, right? Values that are deeply centred on what we read and heard about in the Bible, and a vision and a purpose that's actually just centred on delivering really good care and transforming lives, right? But actually, that's our key job, is to determine what that is clearly and succinctly and get buy-in so that everybody owns that. And it's only once we've actually done that you can then work on a, to fall into your business talk, into your 5-year strategic business plan, because it's got to respond to that vision and purpose and values. So yes, there's an urgency to that, but we'll take our time as well.
Yeah.
We really need to take a collaborative approach. We really need to do that to ensure that we have alignment across the business. But I think what we can effectively say is that we just want to be ensuring that we are able to care for more Aussies, particularly ageing Australians, to the best of our abilities.
I think what I really wanted to learn from you in this podcast, because every guest I have, there's always one thing that I'd be particularly interested in. From you is the experience, the collective experience when it was made known to staff and residents. What the challenges you must have gone through to get to a point where everyone's on board. What was the initial sentiment? Was it? I'm sure it would have been a mix of things, though, right? Excitement, fear, uncertainty about their position in the organisation, change. I mean, change can be exciting, but the initial thing is security and change in their own security. Well, can you shed some light on that, and also how you've navigated to a point now where it seems everyone's pretty excited?
Look, I think at the macro level, everybody's actually been excited from the get-go. I mean, we all know that the sectors that we work in, predominantly aged care, but that's to actually help us deliver services into community through our community services, and also into our social and affordable housing programs. We know that it's getting tough out there. We know that it's challenging, and I think inherently everybody across all the organisations could see that by coming together, we could be stronger as one. I think the other key point that we keep, where it pains to make to staff, but I think is very important in delivering great person-centred care, is that we want to be an organisation that thinks nationally but acts locally. Care at the end of the day is hyper-local. It's got to be reflective of the local community to a degree, right? So how do you do that, right? So, and we also know that so many of the synergies can only really come from your support services, because of the highly regulated environments that we work in. And as we all know, well, we could get very distracted and talk about care minutes. So there is very little synergistic benefits, the economies of scale in our frontline services. So I think the vast majority of our staff actually knew that their jobs would stay the same tomorrow as they were today. But I think everybody knows and has confidence that actually by coming together, we can really be in a more financially sustainable position to really help us drive delivering exceptional customer care and services. That empowers, the marginalised and the vulnerable, and everybody, grand term. The majority of our organisations, as I was saying before, around the values piece, all come with that heart, right?
Mm.
I think that as we come together, if we're more financially sustainable, we can do all sorts of interesting things in creating a really agile and innovative culture. I think we can work really hard on mobility and learning and development of staff, so that BaptistCare actually becomes a place that people really want to come and work for, right? It can be an exciting and vibrant workplace.
You mentioned the recruiter asked whether you were a Christian. How much of that plays? Because I guess that you've got your BaptistCare, Lutheran services, you've got Catholic homes, you've got all the different different faiths.
Yeah.
Does it really make a difference, or is it? I guess what I'm trying to find out is is that a key differentiator these days, or because it seems like everyone's quite all inclusive?
Sure. So we're unashamedly a Christian organisation. What does that look and feel like? So we have some values that are Christian orientated. The senior leadership group, the majority, not everybody, has a Christian faith and background. But actually, across the vast majority of our workforce, we just represent the community.
Yeah.
We're inclusive.
Yeah.
I just make the observation that, Jesus was a pretty inclusive guy, right? Historically, right?
That's a good point.
Not
Yes.
debated. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he do? Walked with the vulnerable and the marginalised.
Yes.
So, that's what we are. Is it a point of difference? Yes, I think it stands BaptistCare apart from some other organisations. But I don't want to grandstand that, because that's just who we are. It's just part of the DNA.
Yeah.
What I do want to grandstand is this drive that we're on to become a really innovative, agile organisation that really focuses on learning and development and delivering the highest quality, safe, person-centred care that we possibly can.
Let's talk about innovations. What are you either seeing out there that you want to implement, or what are you trialing at the moment? Any pilot programs you can share? If it's too early days, maybe you don't want to share it. But what are you seeing out there that you're liking?
Yeah, so I think lots of people would start to rattle off here. They would talk about the power of AI. They'd talk about virtual reality and robotics. Yep, we're in that space. Lots of pilot projects underway. We were privileged that Microsoft came alongside us and chose us as one of their key for-purpose organisations to work through Copilot with.
Right.
We're trialling robotics in an aged care home in all sorts of different ways. We're doing all sorts of things in the artificial intelligence space. But actually, I'd like to talk about perhaps what are we doing in the innovation space above and beyond that, because I actually think that's sort of now, if you're not in that space, you're probably not at the forefront of being an innovative organisation, right? It's more for us, a slightly different tack would be what are we doing in placemaking, right? What's placemaking?
What's placemaking?
Yeah, I knew you'd ask me that question. So placemaking is effectively creating safe, vibrant, diverse communities. So shopping centres have been doing it forever, right? So a shopping centre general manager's job's to create an environment that's safe, that's welcoming, that's vibrant, because yes, it's got shops, but you actually keep going back because it's interesting and it's a sense of a community, right? In a very raw and basic form. So what can we do as we build our new line of communities, as we, from our greenfield sites, that $1 billion development pipeline I mentioned, that creates intergenerational, vibrant diversified community. What can we do in our existing homes? What can we do in our existing villages? What can we do in our social and affordable facilities that creates this wonderful sense of community and belonging?
Yep.
Where you feel safe and valued.
Yeah. Breaking down the barrier between nursing home and community, I think, is going to be quite key in removing the stigma around aged care, because then you're no longer just thinking about aged care as a nursing home. It's just part of the neighbourhood.
Yeah, exactly. So what were the words that we use in our organisation? It's actually people first, right? So quite often you see a development occur, and it's all about just the densification, right? If we talked about the housing crisis, it's about the densification. So, well, hang on. Well, what if you actually built your roads first? What if you built your parks first? What if you built your community centre as part of the first stage, not the second, third, or last stage, right? Actually put the community had those benefits at the front, and you built the hub around that, the community around those elements at the front end, right? And there are some great examples. We actually took a bunch of our leaders to the UK and France last year to have a look at some of this stuff, because one of the things I encourage our leadership group is to take the blinkers off. Right? We're very good at being sector experts, but stand back. That old analogy of getting off the dance floor and getting onto the balcony. Get up there on the balcony and have a look at what other sectors are doing. What can we learn from what other people are doing? Another really good example of this, and why we have one of the reasons we have this focus on growth, is not just about the economies of scale and synergies that we believe that we can generate to become more financially sustainable, but if you look at, for instance, the housing sector in the UK, in the social and affordable housing space, a couple of things happened. One, various levels of government were visionary, were innovative, were courageous, because they actually handed over their housing portfolios not to hundreds of housing providers, but to a select few, through a proper procurement process, to create scale. What's that enabled them to do? Now access all sorts of third-party capital, be it long-dated bonds, sustainable bonds, 20-year money, below typical lending rates, which has enabled them to duplicate and increase the housing supply. Oh, and what are they also doing? Oh, they're focusing on that other thing we were talking about, placemaking, right? That's some different aspects to thinking about innovation beyond. Everyone just defers to the tech space, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not. I mean, the term that we've adopted for innovation in BaptistCare is really simple. Our definition is just innovation is change that adds value.
I love that.
Because that gives you permission to think about, well, what if we just stop putting staples in invoices, and then somebody has to spend 20 seconds undoing the staple to do something with the invoice, right? That'd be innovative, right?
That's it.
It's a change that's added value, right?
And you're right, people would rattle on about AI and technology and robots, VR, and that's fair as well, because it is all new. It's going to make a big change, but as you said again, everyone needs to be, that's now the baseline. Little things like, I saw a post recently about someone learning sign language just to communicate with one single resident.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if that's not the epitome of innovation in that specific scenario, that's what I want to see. I want to see everyone making one little change, like the staple, just to help one person out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's another old saying that look after the cents and the dollars will follow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So I've got some questions from the sponsors here. So this is from Dilsi Dutta, the head of finance and operations at KeenCare. KeenCare is an app that streamlines everything from scheduling and client management to billing, as well as text-to-speech, live language translation capabilities to assist with keeping detailed and accurate progress notes. So the question is, what role does technology play in keeping families informed and involved in the care of their loved ones? And what are the benefits and challenges of using digital communication tools?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Technology, no doubt, is playing an increasing role in the way we all communicate. Just because you move into a residential aged care home, why should we think that technology is an inhibitor to the way we communicate? And when you think about the baby boomers who are now very much living in our retirement living portfolio, well, they're pretty tech savvy, right? So there's a range of ways that we communicate with residents and families, and actually the broader community that surrounds each of wherever we are located. It starts with just some basic newsletters. I'm sure I'm not telling anyone on this podcast anything new here, right? But newsletters that tell stories and recipes from our kitchens, social events, all critical. It starts when you're a young person, right? You take home the school bulletin. Actually, you don't take it home anymore, do you? It comes via what?
Email.
Yeah. Or an app. And we use both. No surprises there. But, we touched on before robots. So in Kalula, a new residential home that we opened a few months ago down in Wagga, we're piling a fleet of robotics. Some push the heavy linen trolleys. Some drag the hot boxes we run household models there to the individual kitchenettes where the food is then served for the residents in their home environments. That they've got benefits because it's saving labour time, so our labour can be doing more higher value elements, but they're also dangerous, right? Pushing those heavy linen trolleys, the number of back and wrist and shoulder injuries that we had, hopefully the robots take those away. But the robot that I love most down there is our welcoming robot.
You've got a welcoming robot?
Who's in our reception area, and it greets you and it asks you who you want to see and where you want to go. And it says, follow me, I can take you.
I need to look this up.
And it takes you off to where you want to go. And the most surprising thing is the way the residents interact with it. It can't actually go and get you a pizza, but they ask it to, can it bring a pizza for them, and fun things. So that's an absolute delight.
I love that.
And then, of course, we've got other forms of technology, the virtual reality goggles, and it's just a great joy. I know that's not groundbreaking at all, but it's just it is. There is no silver bullet here. It's the matrix of solutions that you introduce.
Yeah, I love that. Next question is from Dane Mitchell, Managing Director of Optimum Allied Health, a provider of choice for residential aged care facilities focused on the quality of clinical care in their physiotherapy and allied health programs.
G'day, Charles. BaptistCare has seen incredible growth over the last 5 years through mergers, acquisitions, and new facility builds and renovations in the aged care sector. And as a service provider, my business, Optimum Allied Health, we've benefited greatly from your expansion with our physiotherapy services. But I also have a personal connection with BaptistCare with my mum, Lisa, growing up in Coringal, a Baptist-run children's home in Sydney in the 80s, which for me makes your community and your missionary work resonate deeply. I'd love to hear more about the initiatives BaptistCare is currently running to support vulnerable kids and how the nationwide growth of BaptistCare will allow you to expand this impact.
Yeah, Dane, thanks so much for just
How cool is
sharing that
that?
personal connection.
Yeah.
That's quite humbling and amazing, right? And it's amazing how often I get told stories just like that. And it's a great demonstration when I talk about we wanting us to transform lives, right? And it's not just the lives of our residents and clients. So often it's also the lives of families and other close loved ones, right? So Dane, thanks very much. Yes, our core business is in the aged care sector, but we have a real heart for supporting vulnerable kids and their families at BaptistCare, and we do that in so many different ways. An observation is that community services, and particularly children programs, are a different layer of government. They're generally state-based programs. There's another example of complexity, right? Having to traverse multiple layers of government for funding and development of programs. But then back to the kids. So in South Australia, for instance, we're involved in child, youth and family services that are delivering care and support to really high needs, complex programs for children that have generally come, I'm going to stress generally here, come from really tough backgrounds, really broken homes. A lot of that is actually in South Australia orientated around Indigenous programs. The team there are incredible, but also in South Australia, we do a lot in the camping and outdoor adventure space. In New South Wales, if you're from New South Wales, you might know that as the Crusaders program, but actually in South Australia, a very high percentage of children at some stage or another, as they go through their junior school careers, have probably been to a BaptistCare youth outdoor education program. It's just a great way to connect with so many young children in their formative years. In Victoria and Tasmania, we do a lot of work in the refugee space, again, in building up the well-being and skills of those children. And then in New South Wales and ACT, through our Hope Street program, we do a whole variety of things, be that for families that are really working below the poverty line. So just giving kids a full belly of food before they go to school in the morning, giving them a feed after school. Their home environments may not necessarily be safe for them to go home to, or there just may not be anybody to go home to who is at least sober. So to be able to give them a full belly of food in the evening and help them with their homework and just create community for them. We do a lot of work with children who are victims of domestic abuse, be that their parent, predominantly their mothers, or themselves in the counselling service space. So right across Australia, in that community services space, you can see the diversity and the complexity of what we're doing with children.
Yeah. I love what BaptistCare is doing across the full life cycle. Thanks again to the sponsors for the questions. If anyone else has a question for Charles, put it in the comment section below. I'll pick out a few that also interest me, and I'll keep pestering Charles until he answers one of them. Okay. I want to say, so this is where I get into your personal story so we can connect with you. And I want to say that I still have this fear of approaching anyone with the executive job title, because you're incredibly busy. There's still a bit of imposter syndrome where I don't feel like I can add too much value to your time. But the thing about this sector is everyone is very inclusive, but I don't know, that's still drilled into me. I still have that bit of anxiety. And before I called you, I had to work up the courage to actually call you. When I spoke to you, you were incredibly welcome and enthusiastic and open to the opportunity to be on the podcast. That was a brief conversation. Then I looked into your background more heavily, and I thought, yeah, this guy is he's one of those executives. He's climbed the corporate ladder. That fear set in again, and so I had a bit of pensiveness heading into here. But then as soon as you rounded the corner and you said hello, just that warmth and that openness in the few words you said to greet me just before I came in and set up, that put my fears at ease immediately. So this next part is really for those people who see you walking by. I just want to say, don't be afraid to say hello to Charles. But if there is a topic of conversation where they can get you to stop in your tracks, whatever it is, what would that be?
Oh, there's a long list there. So firstly, thank you for those really kind words. We all bleed. We're all equal, actually. So, yeah, completely unnecessary.
No.
Completely unnecessary.
Thank you.
But what do people need to talk to me about? Oh, the passion list is long. So when I'm not being a husband, a father, or a CEO, my circuit breaker, some people run, some people swim, some people do yoga, some people meditate. I'm one of those. I'm still classifying myself as a middle-aged person too. So I'm one of those middle-aged men in lycra. I'm a mammal, a fully fledged mammal. I love to get on a bicycle on my two wheels and just escape for a couple of hours.
This is a morning type ride, or it doesn't matter what time of day? Are you one of those people in the morning who's just,
if I could choose, I'd say it doesn't matter what time of day, but inevitably, particularly at this time of year, it's dark and increasingly cold. Yeah. It's before most people are out of bed, but that's my time.
Yep.
So I can walk into each day centered, energized, good to go, and devote my energies to others, not myself.
I've always been curious how people do that, because you'd have to wake up, 4 a.m.?
No, nothing good starts at a 4. It has to have a 5 in front of it.
Okay.
There is a community in cycling. I ride predominantly to be able to be fit and just to enjoy social interaction these days.
Is it the coffee at the end of the trip that everyone that makes it for you, or is it just it's the process itself?
Oh, a ride is never complete until you've had coffee.
Yeah.
You're clearly a rookie. You know, we've got to work. We've got to do some work with you.
I'll rent a bike next time I'm in Sydney. I'll come along.
But so here we go. So I think cycling is incredibly egalitarian, right? It doesn't matter if you're a CEO or a stay-at-home dad, mum, whatever. When you're on two wheels, you're dressed in that funny-looking lycra stuff. You're all the same, right? It's just a great opportunity to be equal and to worry about trying to stay alive and fit together.
Was there anything in this podcast that you were any message you were hoping to get across that you'd like to take the opportunity to do so now?
I just think that I wanted just to get across the fact that I think that this work matters. It doesn't matter if we're talking about the aged care sector, the community services sector, the social and affordable housing sector. This work matters. It changes lives. How can that not just drive us all, right? We've talked about, with Dane, right? Every day we hear stories, there's just way too many to share about what we do from residents and clients and their families, the way that we can just enhance their lives. I'm also a great believer that we should all be a lot more optimistic about this sector. I'm looking at a sign in the meeting room that we're in. It says we're all in this together, and that's so true. I think it is really easy for this sector and understandably, to focus on the staffing challenges, to really get grumpy about the fundraising, that would be the funding difficulties. And the lists can go on and on in that space. The tsunami of regulatory change that we're currently facing, right? Or you can choose to say, you know what, the work we do matters.
Mm. Yeah.
The work that we do changes lives. And if we all work together in this space, we can continue to make a difference. And we can turn those mountains into speed bumps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is a really exciting and dynamic space. There is so much happening here in the sectors that we work in. And I think it's got a really bright future.
I'm really excited for the space, and you're right. We need to put more effort into this sector, if even just for selfish reasons, because I'm probably 25 years away from, being in one of your homes.
Well, I always say back self-interest, it tries the hardest, right? So yeah, there's another good reason.
Yeah. Charles, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Really appreciate your time.
Good on you.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.